Hi Farooq, good morning. Mr. Masum, good
Good,
morning.
good morning, Jishan.
Yeah, we just give 3 to 5 minutes more so
Sure,
people can join us and then we'll start, right?
sure.
Good morning, good afternoon. I think we should kick start. I'm checking with Ma'am Khulna. Yes, so we officially kick off our meeting, this webinar. Thank you so much for attending and joining us for this webinar. This webinar, ICRA is jointly, it has arranged it with the Sonali Bank, the UK-based bank over there. And the main topic, as you can see, it is on corresponding banking and trade finance. These are the topics mainly, which is very common because trade, we can say it's very old thing that the very first business I think in this world is the trade. And as we develop more and more and how trade started from city to city, then regional, and then continental and global. So trade is something that without that we cannot live. And to do a proper trade, definitely corporates are the one who do these things, but the banks as the backbone of any ecosystem, I will say that they are the one who facilitate these transactions, provide services to the corporates and facilitate them and make them easy to do that one and to protect importers and exporters' interest in all these. So corresponding banking is also something that which is very much connected with the trade finance. And you will see that Mr. Masoom will put some light on that as he's one of the experts and speaker in this webinar. The topics to be covered is like corresponding banking, trade finance, and the connectivity of credit ratings, that how credit ratings can work as a supplement, work as an lays instrument that which can connect and help institutions to connect with each other. Definitely, I will must say here that the Tanzania Institute of Bankers and the Credit Info, which is a bureau in Tanzania, and collaborated with ICRA and partnered with ICRA. They're always standing beside us whenever we do any activity like educational webinars, informational, or any other activity we do. These are our brother companies, we can say. They're always there. Ms. Berga from the Tanzania Institute of Bankers. She's here with us as well and attending this webinar. Thank you, Verda, so much for always being standing with ICRA and always giving us your support. With the Credit Info side, you can see that Ms. Salma and Ms. Anita, who are presenting Credit Info in the region, in Tanzania. And they're the first ever collaboration that ICRA has made in East Africa with an institution that is Credit Info. So thank you so much again for your kind support and assistance all the way till date in this ICRA's journey. Say the opportunities, why we are saying that opportunities coming up over there. The Sonali is one of the institutions which are based in UK, and UK is one of the compliant environment, you can say. And that there are very few, I can say, the economic corridors or financial sectors that's like New York, like Singapore, Dubai is looming. So UK is one of that one as well, and they are based over there and connected and sitting inside the market where every bank, every institution is there and very well connected with each other. So Mr. Masoom Billah, he is the CEO of SB UK. He is one of our main speakers as well in presenting SB UK. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us from UK and being a part of this ICRA's journey and activities and adding values in the ecosystem of African nations, just like Tanzania today is. Ms. Kilna, a seasoned banker, decades of experience. She will be here with us. Ms. Kilna, just if you can know that because she was struggling somehow to in connectivity over there. So if I may know that if you are here. Myself, I'm Zishan Khan. Most of the people, I think, they know me in Tanzania, in banking sector. I'm the global GM for ICRA Ratings. And I'm a very proud member of ICRA to doing this all stuff and bringing value addition services to the continent and connecting with the international institutions like SBE. Just checking if just give me a minute. So if I can see Ms. Kilna is here. Ma'am Kilna?
You're on mute, I guess. Kilna joined as ICRA guest, but you're on mute.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good
I'm
afternoon.
good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you all too. And sorry, I think I'm having some connection issues. You know, we are in Tanzania, so power is going on and off. So I've logged in from my phone. I hope I'm visible and I'm audible.
Ma'am, you are very much visible. You are very much audible.
Thank you.
So I will just introduce Ma'am Kilna. She was a seasoned banker. She had an FI department. She established FI department in some of the organization. If in a simple way, if I say she's the woman who walk with lines, and the rest, I will ask you, ma'am. Please just brief about yourself, and then I will request you to give us, an opening speech about Tanzania, the sector, and I leave it with you.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, all the participants and everybody who has joined us. And thank you for giving us this opportunity. Yes, I have been in banking for a long time. I think, but 25 years. And I've just kind of, I would say, forced to feel my age. But yeah, that's part of the game. I thought I should give something back to the society of whatever knowledge I've acquired in all these 25 years of my banking experience in Tanzania. So today I think we are basically going to talk about correspondent banking and the impact it has on the trade finance in Tanzania. So when we talk about correspondent banking, I mean, basically what do we understand? It's a correspondent bank is a financial institution which provides services to another financial institution, generally outside the jurisdiction, I mean, another country or a different country. And we know that in Tanzania, we do face a lot of challenges. Some of the smaller banks are actually not having any correspondent relationships. So the services which these banks provide are something like clearing, wire transfers, trade finance, and currency exchanges. And these are the basic services which they provide. And many banks are not able to sustain, rather, I should say, because of limitations in getting onboarded onto this kind of relationships. So normally have an account for the bank they are servicing. So yes, those are basically the definition I would say we would have for correspondent banks, that they do help us in obtaining an account, facilitating wire transfers and trade finance opportunities, which allows the local banks to actually grow. Now, if we talk about the functions, as I already mentioned, they look into payment, currency exchanges, trade finance, and settlement services. Some banks do clearing of checks as well, though I think in Tanzania we have been restricted now. We are not able to clear the foreign checks. So due to compliance, and the foreign banks also provide good compliance and due diligence to the local banks. I mean, the banks which we have locally do not have such robust systems to support the KYC and AML procedures, regulations. So they do support, though they are insisting that we should have some kind of an AML module to ensure that we don't do any fraudulent transactions through our systems. But yet we have to depend on them to give us a better support to ensure that no leakages are there on such transactions. So yeah, the support for correspondent banking is required, but as I said, Tanzania is having limitations on those benefits because of the systems here. I should say risk management. Many a times country is discarded on this kind of support because they say it's a country risk. So Tanzania falls under a high risk country, and so it becomes a little, very not little, but very difficult for them to sustain, on the client's requirements. As I mentioned, these correspondent banks do support us on risk management. They do the due diligence for us. They do our transaction monitoring for us. So it is very important for actually get onboarded to some of these big correspondent banks, but they are not really willing to support. And I think here ICRA would play a very good part in giving us support, to the local banks. So able to sustain the main function where the main reason why a correspondent bank is important for the banks in Tanzania is also for offering the trade finance services. When we talk about trade finance services, we talk about letters of credit, we talk about invoice discounting, we talk about conforming LCs, documentary collections. Tanzania is basically an import country. It depends a lot on importation. So unless we have that support, it becomes very, very difficult to sustain if we don't have the support, it's difficult to import, or you have to give advance payments, open accounts, things are very difficult for banks to sustain and offer good services to the clients if there is no support from the correspondent banks. So yeah, that's basically what I would like to say on the part of correspondent banks. I think I've covered most of it. We talk about risk, we talk about definition, we talk about the functions which the correspondent banks is actually handling. And if there's anything else which requires my input, please let me know. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. Just one point, in a physical. Right now, the live examples, just like the Tanzanian banks, they are struggling to establish the corresponding bankings and the regulatory requirements on that, but that okay, the banks must be having at least 2 corresponding banks for each currency or kind of thing, and then the trade finance, the connectivity with the region, because as you said, that Tanzania is the importing country, and then most of the imports are linked with the GCC and subcontinent region on this areas in China region, and the connectivity through them, then how the corresponding banks, because if they are based in jurisdictions like Sonali Bank in UK or banks in GCC, so every bank has their own expertise. Sonali Bank has their own expertise, and they are connected with so many other banks.
You are very right, Zishan. Tanzania banks, the regulators do have a condition that you cannot put all your foreign currency in one bank. So you need to have a couple of other banks as well. But as I mentioned, it's not easy. I mean, you put in my introduction, I worked with one of the largest banks in Tanzania for many years, and I was handling this. And being one of the 5th largest banks, for us also, it was really very, very difficult to get onboarded with some of the good banks. And with this COVID coming in, so many restrictions, though we have lines, they're monitoring, it's not very easy. It's really not very easy for small banks to sustain in Tanzania.
Very nice. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for highlighting this one. And I will very proudly say that I was as a very proud member of ICRA. I'm very proud that ICRA is now connecting with the international institutions, and Sonali Bank is one of that one. And I really um, uh, appreciate and thank you, Mr. Masoom and his team, the entire team, Farouk and the other team members, that coming on board with us, trusting on us, relying on our discussions, and open to explore these markets along with ICRA. So, Mr. Masoom, he is the CEO of the SB UK, very senior banker. All the respect, sir, biggest senior banker, because I also belong to a banking industry and then in ratings. So, sir, the floor is all yours. Audience are very keen to listen directly from you.
Thanks a
Sir.
lot. Thanks a lot, Jishan. Good morning to all of you who kind of able to join this webinar, and good morning to my colleagues and also ICRA partners there as well. This particular online seminar reminds me nicely a time when I used to actually visit Africa quite a lot, and part of that actually visited Tanzania a few times when I was working for Citibank, and I was leading the EMEA FI training initiative. I was coming and sort of taking some training. So not sure anyone of this audience would remember. That's probably quite some time ago. So yes, I would say Africa and especially Tanzania sort of known to me. Even some of the banks and bankers I met there a couple of years back. Now, while I'm now leading the initiatives at Shonali UK, and when we are thinking to expand our current business into Africa market, it is quite timely to actually meet Jishan, or in a way ICRA, and found that they're also sort of quite heavily involved in Africa, especially in Tanzania, of course in a kind of a different kind of a perspective, but that also quite nicely sort of, I would say, matches with our ambition as well to actually do some correspondent banking and trade finance in Africa, especially Tanzania. So with that, I would probably go use my slides here. And Jishan, can I sort of use control the slides? Or okay, right. So I think that's more. So that's kind of.
I will manage for you, sir.
Okay, that's fantastic. So that's kind of what you can say, in half an hour or less than so, I shall try to cover an introduction and the sort of products and services that Shonali provides, and also would like to introduce the team who would be available for any time, of course, for your requirements and needs once we actually sort of get into a customer relationship, and at the end maybe few question and answers from the audience. So with that, if you go to the next page, so little bit on Shonali. Shonali, currently known as Shonali Bangladesh UK Limited, actually is a bank, used to be a bank that was established in 1973, so it's more than 50 years now, owned by government of Bangladesh, and that is actually sort of owned in a way, I would say the other way, this owned by the largest commercial bank in Bangladesh, which is actually owned by government. We have quite bespoke trade service and finance capabilities that, again, we must say that we have been doing it for more than 30 years in the UK, covering primarily the banks from Bangladesh. But as I said, we now have appetite and sort of intention to expand into Africa as well. As part of that, we also are offering a limited correspondent banking service. And the reason I say limited, to make sure that there is no confusion at this time, the current correspondent banking service that we provide primarily linked with the trade service or trade business. We are currently not offering, or at this point in time, the third-party payments or MT103 payments. But for that, we are working on with our correspondent banks. Hopefully, we should be in a position to offer that as well. It's important to note that primarily operating in Bangladesh, and probably most of you may know that Bangladesh, being a small country, but it has got quite a large number of banks, more than 65 banks currently, We are having a relationship with more than 50 banks right now, having credit relationship and correspondent banking relationship. At this point in time, as a UK entity, we have been authorized and we have been approved. My apology. We have been approved and supervised by the FCA as a NXI firm for AML purposes. So as a result, we can say we are somehow supervised and approved by a UK regulator. That would mean that we'll have to, as a correspondent banking service provider, we'll have to comply with the UK regulatory requirements all the time. One of the ambitions that we are driving now is, while we are currently working as an NBFI, but we would be sort of looking to approach the regulators to take the deposit taking, to have the deposit taking permission, hopefully very soon. In terms of our, over this period of 30 plus years, we have expanded our correspondent banking relations through having RMA globally, almost all the centers. As a result, I think we should be able to support you, the banks from Tanzania, for your trade corridor almost anywhere globally, that we can say proudly. So with that, if we go to the next page, as we said that the products and services that we, next page. So under correspondent banking service, as our guest speaker from ICRA was also mentioning that what exactly a correspondent bank does. So these are specifically few products and services under correspondent banking arm or window or part that we operating, we can offer you. So we can actually open your Nostro clearing account or Nostro clearing account under three major currencies: USD, GBP, and Euro. We should be in a position to give you your account statements on a daily basis. We are setting up a world-class platform. We started the projects. We have already subscribed one of the top core banking platform, leading core banking platform, that should be able to then give you online statement as well very soon. We also provide payment services for your LC related payments or reimbursement payments. So MT202 and MT740 can be processed through us. You can send through us and we'll process. As I mentioned, that MT103 third-party payments, something that we are discussing and is upcoming. In terms of your query and all, we can proudly say that you will always get a customized service, bespoke service, very personalized service through our customer service and RMs. And I also mentioned that you will have your dedicated RMs for your correspondent banking service. And I will introduce them. They are already in the call and I will introduce them to you as well. Under the trade service that we do for all your import needs, where you need to advise your LC through a bank, or you need to have confirmation, that definitely we would be in a position once we actually start operation in Tanzania and get some of you as our customers happily. We should be able to advise your LC. We should be able to confirm your LC, and of course, before that, we should be in a position to set up RMA to do all this activity. Documents that your beneficiary, they would be they should be able to come to us and negotiate the document with us. We can handle the documents for them. The other thing that we also do is that we can issue the bank guarantee from our counter as well. We are looking also to start documentary collection service. If Tanzania is doing lots of trade under collection, documentary collection, then you can think of us as well to handle your collection documents as well. So these are the various services that we are offering and we can offer for the banks in Tanzania as well. If you go to the next page, and then we do trade finance as well. We have currently we have kind of a, I would say, small fund that we can deploy into Tanzania for some selected banks to take some finance transactions as well. And when I say trade finance, basically when your exporter, when under your import LC, when the exporter is ready with the documents, and they can actually discount those documents through us. We can discount those documents. There are situations when maybe somebody has already discounted one of your import LC for 180 days, but then you need some refinancing. we can do that as well. And there are some trade loan opportunity that you can also avail through this trade finance facility as a bank, as a bank customer, where we'll have a specific credit line on you that you can utilize to actually take some funding from us against your LC documents, against your LC transaction. The LC does not need to be routed through us. We just need a full set of documents based on which we can actually provide you some trade loan. And finally, if you are doing collection, and then we can do on a acceptance basis, DA documents, we can also analyze, and based on which the financing can happen. So that's trade finance. So these are the three specific business areas we can help you from UK, from Shonali.
Recording in progress.
Okay, that a bit of an echo. Now, while we just mentioned about the production services, I thought I'll just take a couple of minutes to tell you that as a small entity and your correspondent bank, we also sort of try our best, and recently sort of taking lots of initiatives to excel in our service that we are going to offer to you. So I'm happy to share with you that recently we have implemented a trade processing platform. It's called DOCA, very well known trade platform that also has a correspondent banking processing capability. And that would mean that if you send us an MT202 or maybe in future MT103, we don't need to manually actually look at them and then process them and key in manually. The DOCA platform can actually process automatically, and accordingly it actually send the outgoing message instantly based on some AI logics and all, without almost without any manual intervention. So we are almost looking to do an STP kind of environment that most of your top correspondent banks like Citi or Standard Chartered, they would do today. So that's what we are aiming. Hopefully it would be very soon. We have already gone live, but this specific STP we are currently sort of implementing now. As I mentioned that we have signed up for an agreement for a world-class core banking platform. I can give you the name now. It's called Finestra. And once we have the Finestra, your Nostro account with us will have the online capability. We'll give you the online module, and you can download your statement anytime you want online. And we just signed an agreement with a fantastic AI-based document checking platform, which is the first ever that actually is available in that big scale. Is called TradeStream, and that would mean that, and while Zishan also mentioning that your exporter sort of sending us the documents and all, we scan those documents, and this particular platform will actually do the document checking based on some AI rules, and at the same time compliance checking within a very I would say very short period of time, where we know what are the discrepancies and what are the compliance issues. So before that document goes anywhere, we can actually give you some indication what are the problem with the documents and all. So we can really sort of help you using this platform in an efficient way to identify the issues in the documents that we received from your bank. So that's from a platform. Actually, our aim to become a digital trade service bank or digital correspondent bank, the way we actually would like to say, powered by AI platform like TradeStream and Finestra, DOCA. Our process, we also would like to say, being a UK entity, probably you would all imagine that it has to be compliant, fully compliant in terms of UK and global and ICC requirements. So to help us in that endeavor, we have taken lots of global tools. Probably you already know these names. Equity we use, LexisNexis we use. There is a Breeze and then Bankers Almanac, US OFAC, and Department for Internal Trade. That's UK-based dual-use goods checking. So these tools really help us to actually make sure that we identify any compliance issue in a productive and efficient manner. So our process that way we can say is quite effective and quite compliant with the compliance requirement. We also use Lloyds and IMB to actually identify some fraud opportunities or fraud potential within your trade documents that we receive. And the other thing that we also would like to say is that right now, being a small entity and all, end-to-end processing is happening in the UK through our own team, not outsourced anywhere in the world. I'm not saying that outsource is not something that we don't want to look at or nobody should look at, but having control end-to-end sometimes gives kind of a better comfort in terms of getting the query answered very promptly and very quickly. In terms of people, proudly can say that the trade senior people, if I combine 3-4 people, including mine, 30 plus of trade experience, it can easily cross 100 plus years of trade experience for the trade team. There are a few people who are actually doing document checking day in, day out for more than 30 plus years. And he is not here. Mr. Kazim, our head of operations, is one of them. There are a few more people like that. And all the key resources, as we mentioned, are also in the UK, who would be very keen to support you and your transactions. I think with that, it's time now to sort of let you know who are the team who are going to support you once we onboard you as our customers, hopefully very soon. So if you go to the next page, Zishan, you'll see, I think we have mentioned that. So I'm currently Didi as the CEO and as also the head of business. I'm leading this small team of relationship managers, and they're already here. Probably you can see them. One is Farjana Haq, our senior relationship manager, and the other one is Farooq Rashid Mazumdar, another senior relationship manager. Both of them are having more than, I would say, 12 to 14 years of pure relationship management and trade-related experience. I'm sure that they would be, capable in terms of handling your transactions and your queries, and God forbid, if any issues that you face, I'm sure you'll be at a safer hand. With that, I think that's probably end of the presentation, at least in terms of introducing to you all about Sonali Bangladesh. Zishan, maybe we can open the floor for some questions.
Thank you so much for the one. And I will brief you out on that the role of ICRA in this all setup. What ICRA is doing, as you know, that ICRA is the first ever trade rating agency comes into Tanzania, and the only one which is accredited by the Bank of Tanzania, the regulator. The ratings, not only for the trade side, but it is also something that it is a trade rating report. I will say it works as an asset for any bank. If right now, if I say that, okay, the trade transactions are very rapid. We experience that one, if there is any client who comes up, you have given lines and they come up with any kind of a query that, okay, they want to issue an LC to any part of the world, right? For anything. It could be a bigger amount. The customer has a good profile, you have approved a bigger line. But when you issue an LC, and as Madam Chalna has also said, the country risk in most of the areas where it considers a very high risk. And even in UAE, even though the GCC and UAE is one of the biggest trade, bilateral trade partner of African countries and Tanzania as well. But even though in some of the bigger banks, they don't have the country lines. Leave the bank lines of Tanzania, but even they don't have the country lines. And let's say if they have the country lines, then it will not be more than 10 million, 15 million, $20 million. I'm talking about the country lines. And how many banks we have in Tanzania? 34 commercial banks. Might be, if you say even the 10 or 15 bigger banks, if they are very active in trade finance. My question is for all my audience based in Tanzania, that this 20 million, 15 million country line is good enough to facilitate all the Tanzanian banks. So first, we don't have the lines. Secondly, very small lines. What is the reason? If right now, if any bank has to issue any LC, any part of the world, and they want to establish any RMA directly, quickly, because these are the trade transaction, time-sensitive transactions, definitely the exporter looking for the confirmations for each and everything. So what happened, because information is not available about the banks, their risk is not known. And by the time if any bank start working, they have their own procedures, policies to check out compliance side. quantitative side, qualitative side, standing of the bank within the market. It takes so much time for this communication. They do. Every bank has their own policies. But consider if right now you have your credit rating, a detailed report of 50 to 60 pages, which is going to cover your all qualitative side, which is covering your all compliance things, which are exposure taking bank or correspondent bank or LC confirmation advising or trade loan bank want to see. It is available over there. Your proper detailed assessment of 3 years with all the ratios over there, with the interpretation of the ratio, that what ratios means to everyone, it will be there. And if a good number of credit rating reports of the Tanzanian banks are available for such banks, then how much time it will take to take a decision. If a report, detailed report, will submit to any bank, it will take hardly an hour or so to take an initial this decision that, okay, that we establish a relationship with this bank, and then what will be the credit exposure we can take it on, and then you can establish some corresponding banks, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why the number of banks over there? Because the larger amount of the LCs cannot be facilitated by one bank. So there are some participations, like banks, corresponding banks can arrange any trade facilitation under MRPA, under IRU structure. Okay, so that's how the credit rating can open the doors very quickly for the financial institutions. And whereas now, I would say that the big threes, the big ones, might be the African entities or Tanzanian entities, smaller entities, they are not the target market, or might be the institutions are not able to reach them out. It could be happen, we don't know. Or might be their costing is so much high that the institutions are not able to bear that cost over there. But now, ICRA, which is already accredited by the regulator over there, and having presence over there, and collaborated with institutions like Credit Info Bureau, like TIOB, like chambers and other institutions. So, and having our own presence over there. So there is now no access for any financial institution over there. And since we have a global presence in GCC, in East Africa and other countries, and we have presence in down in Pakistan as well. We have offices in UK and Spain, and we are doing so many webinars on ESG on other topics as well. So ICRA is now very much known, and most of the banks, if anyone reach out to them, so definitely they reach out to us and ask for their report that, okay, being a credit rating agency, if you have the reports over there. So since ICRA is not in a business of selling any reports, it is the issuer's right to clear any report on that side. So that's what ICRA and credit rating tools can help out over their side. So ICRA is also having the team having more than 25 years of experience in everywhere. We have 10 different nationalities in ICRA, from Africa region, from Asia region, from Europe region, and GCC as well. And we are expert bankers and each and everywhere. They are there over there. Yes, Mr. Mason.
Thanks. Sorry, Jishan. I thought, no, maybe once you finish that, I really would like to. I forgot to actually mention one specific thing in my presentation, or sort of, that how important it is for us also to take comfort from our credit rating that you guys are doing.
So please.
Sure. I would actually be honestly, it's not that Jishan has actually brought us here and sort of supporting Jishan. I think it would be fact and honestly saying that if we are actually coming to Tanzania or any other African countries and taking some exposure in terms of trade finance or trade loan, we need to give you credit lines. And that credit line, that credit proposal, my RM, our RM that we introduced to you, they would be proposing to the credit committee, which ultimately goes to even our board. In that proposal, think about two scenarios. One proposal is that we are proposing a bank XYZ without having any credit rating, a limit, let's say 2 million limit for the time being. Then another proposal scenario is that same limit, but then a good rating by ICRA or similar companies that supported by in the market. If a credit officer is looking at that, definitely that would add value. And currently I'm also sort of acting chief risk officer for the bank. I personally definitely would feel that a proposal with a credit rating and a proposal without a credit rating makes lots of difference. That's the point I wanted to make. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mason, to sharing your internal procedures and the requirement. It will be a good help for that one. So, being in a reach over there, as I said, that okay, we have presence in these countries over there, and then we are providing services to all over. Our clients are basic.
Dishan, I think you have a question from Kuldeep. He raised hand. Kuldeep.
Yeah, we have a question and answer session, and Mr. Kuldeep,
Okay.
we will answer. We will take your question, and you can write down on the chat box, and then we have a separate session, and definitely we will reply you on that one. So so now based on our global one, and secondly, beside the international thing, everyone is aware of that now that the Africa, they're talking about the free trade, free Africa continent trade over there. So also within the continent, the banks are not very well connected over there. The RMs are not very well established over there. So how it will help to connect? And then people definitely from Nigeria, from Ghana, from West African side, they say that, okay, you have a presence in east side and we are looking to establish our relationships over there. So how we can do that? If you can see the policies and procedure that, okay, in each country, the governments are very much supportive now to boost their economies and each and everything. And then being banking sector, backbone of any ecosystem, they must be strong. They must be connected with with other institutions for a quick one. It will not even also help you to provide quality services of your client, timely manner, but it also help you to connect with the other institutions and reduce the costing as well. As I said that we have now 3 licensing. We are affiliated by the Bank of Tanzania. We are very well recognized Bank of Uganda. And very recently, we have got our license from Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, which is the regulator over there. And we are launching, we already started our services, and definitely we will update you on that side. ICRA has members portal. It's a free members portal, and anyone can easily go to website. On the right top, there is a tab. You can join us for daily activities and information what ICRA is doing in the region. These are some of the collaboration in very short time of period of time. We have collaborated with many organizations, and you can see that Dubai Chamber, GCC, PSFU, Uganda, TAMFI in Tanzania, Credit Info in Tanzania and Uganda, ZNCC Zimbabwe, West Africa Bank Association, Addis Chamber, PCCIA, ITFA, Capital Market, CTI, Forbes. We are connected with everyone, and these are our collaborations, and we are very proud that in a very short time that these organizations having a trust on us, and we are connected with everyone. As ICRA is aware that I'm just telling you that what are our services. Issuers rating, which we are talking about, the bank's rating, corporate rating, insurance ratings, MFI ratings, everyone. Portfolio rating services, we provided it for the banks and the other ones to institutions. Investor service called that our third-party services. We are providing services to banks to assess the loan application, the corporates, other financial institutions as well, banks as well. For them, we do analysis and do underwriting for the banks. ESG rating is also something and very much coming in the banking sector as well, because every bank is now going forward with policies that are coming up. Central banks are working on both sides, that there must be some portion of the asset side which must be allocated to the sustainable funding or green funding, you call it. And to avail those green funding, low cost funding, you must be ESG rated besides the credit ratings. ICRA scorecard, ICRA, this is something that we are giving in the society. ICRA is doing that. And beside that one, all we have the paid services and bearing the cost. But ICRA has decided to spread out our scorecard services free of cost to the lenders. And these are, you can use it on the retail banking and you can use it on the corporate side as well. And I think within 5 minutes you can assess. It's a initial assessment, you can say, that within 5 minutes your RM can sit, and if any client approach any individual or sole proprietorship they approach, and within 5 minutes if you insert their information in this one. So if it has some methodology on the back end, it gives you the score, the initial score, and you can connect it with your bank's policy and check that it's a potential customer or not, or in which category it falls. For the corporate assessments, the company assessment, it will take 15 to 20 minutes, and then you can get the initial assessment out there, and you can definitely accordingly, you can decide that you have to proceed with this client further as per your internal policies or not. So that's a free of cost services, and you can reach out to ICRA to avail such services. Yes, now I will ask Tilna, Mr. Masum, to come over here, and please feel free to ask any kind of a question, anything. We are here, and this is your time actually. In this whole webinar, actually, this is the time that we want to interact with you and we want to receive your questions. Mr. Erard, I have raised the question. I think Mr. Another
Hello.
person. Yes, Mr. Erard.
Yes,
you,
good morning. Well, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. And thanks for this webinar. Some good feedback response. I think I know one or two people in this group, definitely from Exit Bank. Yeah, my name is Erard Mutalema. I'm a partner, shareholder, executive director with a well-established financial advisory firm here in Tanzania called Pangani Advisory. We've been in this business since 2012, and we are represented here in Tanzania and Zambia, and extremely well connected both in the private sector and public sector. So I'm glad to be part of this webinar. I was looking forward. The three areas that you covered, obviously, this is where my comments will come from. First, on the correspondence banking, and I agree with you now, it is a challenge. We, as an advisory firm, we receive queries from local banks, asking us to assist them. I just wanted to get the clarification. I don't know who was speaking, but I think the biggest challenge for most of the bank is to open the nostro and clearing accounts, predominantly in dollars. So is that offered by SBUK? Yes or not? I was not very clear on that. So if I can get some clarity on that, especially on the nostro, on the product and services that are offered by SBUK proposition on the slide that was shown. Secondly, the item around trade lines, trade facility. It is. I mean, we deal with banks here, and I must say, being an ex-banker, it's a challenge for most of our clients, and we've got numerous clients that are looking for trade lines. And I must be very open. The competition is, and when I say competition, I'm not talking about trade. How do I call them? Trade partners or trade house. These are your smaller entities that are coming to Tanzania. Within 2 weeks, they've given you an initiative term sheet. Within a month or 2 months, you've closed the deal. But with commercial banks, Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, Mr. Erard.
Yeah.
So your question is that banks,
yeah, so what I'm saying, I don't know if you got my question around the correspondence banking, if I can get some clarity on that. And secondly, my point is around the trade lines. Dealing with commercial banks, my experience has not been very good. Obviously, being an ex-banker, I know the politics and the logistics and the back and forth that happens with with commercial banks, and it can be a challenge for our clients. Like I said, we have numerous clients that are looking for trade lines, and they want to shy away from banks. So what has happened, what we're seeing now is your small trade funder that will come in, and we are dealing with quite 2 or 3 of them, and these can be extremely fast when it comes to issuance of term sheets and even approval. So I don't know how your entity can compete with these ones. Like I said, time is an essence for some of these exporters, and it's extremely key that they have approved lines in place, and obviously KYC is important. My last point is on ICA rating. We had a chat as an entity with some of the few colleagues, and interesting, we have opportunities around the ratings. I think I'll send an email to. I see Zishan is on the mail, so I'll send an email based on what we had started discussing with some of your colleagues that I met at Serena on how we can work together between our 2 entities. And I think ratings, for example, with regulated microfinance entity is key. Some of them are going to be listed very soon, and this is the right time to work with microfinance entities. I think I'll stop there, and then if I can get some response to my queries. Thank you very much.
Shall I take the first 2 questions?
Please,
Yes.
please.
Thanks, Irad. I think that's a very valid question. Answer is yes. That's exactly we are doing for Bangladeshi banks. So, and if you are expanding into Tanzania and other African countries, that's exactly what we are going to do. So once we are sort of finished the KYC due diligence and all, and our compliance and the, sort of the committee, they're happy, then we would be in a position to open a US dollar clearing account, a GBP clearing account, and a Euro clearing account for at this point in time. And as a result, these accounts can be used by your organization or any banks in Tanzania to send MT202 and hopefully in the near future MT103 as well. In terms of trade finance, with all the challenges and all, but still I would say we are not a big entities like the global banks. We also have limitations. So if we come to any country in Africa, we'll come with a small pot in terms of financing, kind of a country limit, as Zishan mentioned. So we'll also have a limit. So within that country limit, we'd like to give that limit to not all the banks maybe at the same time, but some of the top banks, we think that they're quite heavy or quite big in trade. And accordingly, once we have that line in place, then we do process transactions on the same day. If you can give us a compliant set of documents, or for that matter, under your LC, the beneficiary gives us a compliant set of documents, we discount on the same day. So we know that speed is an essence, and we definitely will take care of that. Thanks.
Right. So about the trade ratings and this other stuff, we have written down our email addresses. As I'll say it's my email address. Mr. Sahil is our CEO. It's his email address, and Mr. Vela is the CEO. It's her email addresses. We have the senior team over based in Dubai. Then down there, I have mentioned Mr. Hassan and Ms. Angelita email addresses who are based in Tanzania, and you can reach out to us anytime, and we will definitely take any kind of a discussion with you and see any kind of opportunity, and we will support you at our end, what we can do our best, definitely. Our next question that raised the hand, Mr. Kwasi. I'm so sorry, please
Yeah.
come on.
No problem. I'm Kwasi Kwaku from Ivory Coast. Thank you for inviting me to take part to that meeting. The presentation was a very good one because it provided the required information as far as the trade is concerned. But my concern is not on the, background of things is just on the side of communication, because here as a trade finance professional on ground here in Ivory Coast, the main issue that we have in order to anticipate the needs of customers or in order to get a more accurate customer acquisition plan is the issue of language. You see, there is a gap between Anglophone and Francophone countries, and most of the time, when you like to complete a process on LC or another document or service, you are confronted to a problem of language, because the guy in front of you is not necessarily an English speaker, you see. So I would suggest most of the operators in that trade to consider the side of bilingual documentation of things, so that people, so for the ease of processing here on this side of the world. Thank you very much for listening to my proposals.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, may I know from which organization you belong?
Euro Exim Bank.
Euro Exim Bank. Okay. So for your information, just to brief you out, even in Tanzania, we have the staff who understand French language. And in our Dubai office, out of 150 staff, I can say minimum 15 staff, 15 to 20, they are the French speakers, because when we call it ourselves global, so yes, we understand. And the major languages in this region, like Arabic, English, definitely Hindi, French. We have Spain office, so Spanish is also over there. It's one of the biggest language definitely used. So we have all these, our colleagues are here who are, native languages in that way. So please feel free to touch base with us, to Tanzanian office or Dubai office, and we will assist you in your language. That's for sure.
Okay.
Mr. Kuldeep, sir, sorry for giving you a long wait. Please.
No, thank you, Jisan and Ikra team. I think it's quite a wonderful presentations by the Mr. Masoom from the SB Bank. While I'm not from Tanzania, while I worked with Tanzania with Kilna earlier, so nice to see Kilna there. I'm calling from Zambia. I joined from Zambia. I'm a managing director for a domestic bank in Zambia called First Alliance Bank. I just want to know that whether these facilities talked about the correspondent banking, trade finance, and the rating, etc., whether these things are available in Zambia as well, or only stick to the Tanzania on some specific things. So that's what my only question. So that I can take care of things here. Thank you.
Sir, our services are very much available, not in Zambia, but the whole continent, the whole world. We are providing our services to Nigerian banks, to subcontinent banks, corporates. We are doing due diligences even for the African banks. If there is any case where they are very happy for their domestic customer, their own customer, and they are approving a line for them. But if there is any advance payment involved, in some cases there is advance payment involved. So if payment is going to Indonesia, to China, to Canada, to Brazil, ICRA is also providing those services under the investor services and our customized services. We are providing that one. And yes, being an external trade rating agency in the region, our services are very much available. And please, ma'am Kilna, so it means ICRA. You are in contact with ICRA. Let us know with your availability, and definitely we'll sit with you and take this discussion on the next level. And then,
thanks. And the same goes for Shonali as well. Right now, we are focusing few countries in terms of credit and taking credit exposure, but in terms of correspondent banking service, we are quite open. So welcome. Please contact us. We'll start with probably RMA and some Nostro accounts to see your transactions so that we can understand your business and all. and maybe then at some point, 6 months to 12 months later, we should be in a position to take some exposure on your bank as well.
Okay, that's
Very
great. Thank you.
Mr. Kuldeep, thank you so much, and definitely we'll stay in touch. Feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. By the time I can say this,
Zishan, there is a question in the chat from Mr. Magdalena. What is required for a commercial bank to get trade finance lines for LCs requiring confirmations? What is the process and what is the timeline for this to get approved?
okay, very nice, sir. For you, Mr. Maso. If may I ask Magdalena, if may we know that which organization you are, it will be very helpful. But I leave Mr. Masoom to answer
Sure.
this
No problem.
question.
Again, as I said, probably that would have been help which country and which bank she is from. But if you are already, because we already have identified few banks, few countries where we'd like to come and take some exposure right now. If you're already within that bucket, good news, we can do it. We can start the process tomorrow. If not, as I just responded to one of our participant from Zambia, is that we still can open your Nostro account and we still can serve your MT202 and maybe very soon 103, of course, going through the KYC verification and all. And we'll see some of your payment behavior and sort of transactions to understand you more and your business line. And then after 6 months or maybe 12 months later, we should be in a position to take some exposure of trade finance as well as confirmation. Because confirmation also is exposure, you'd understand. For that, we need to sort of understand and see and look at your business.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think that we are reached to our session. Thank you so much for your questions.
If there is no other question for Shonali, but please do know that I think you already have the emails of two RMs and also myself. Maybe Zishan can forward. We are and any query, any sort of query that you have, please reach out to us and we'll be able to help you.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah.
After this webinar,
Before we close, Zishan, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah, before we close, I'd like to ask Mr. Masoom something. Well, I've been in the bank with Exim for so many years, and we are always struggling for lines for our subsidiaries. So, is it possible to have a look at those? While Exim does enjoy some facilities, some lines with some very, I mean, we have, because of the size, we have lines with some of the largest A-rated banks.
Sure.
But our subsidiaries are always struggling, and they're depending a lot on Exim Bank Tanzania to support them for LCs, transfers.
And the subsidiaries are also operating as a bank?
Yeah. Fully, they are fully owned subsidiaries of Exim Bank Tanzania.
Okay, and which countries they are?
They're in Djibouti, Comoro, and Uganda.
Okay, I think Uganda definitely we can say that's one of the countries that we have kind of right now within our appetite here. Others definitely we can look at. Again, as I said, starting correspondent banking relationship based on the KYC verification and all, we can start, and of course setting up RMA we can start. But taking some exposure would need some kind of transactions to go through and understanding each other. Might take 6 months to 12 months.
Yeah, because Djibouti is a very lucrative place actually. Exim Tanzania gets a lot of support from Djibouti.
Right.
And they are really stranded for lines. So if something works out, I can always connect them to you.
What I can propose is to understand that even in greater details, we can have a separate call if that helps.
Yeah, fine. That's good.
Sure. So Zishan, please connect us and we'll take it from there.
Noted, sir. Very well noted. And we are taking you to Uganda as well for the next webinar, which is going to be happen on 22nd of May.
Sure.
22nd of May. Our webinar is for all the banks in Uganda as well, and definitely we can cover up on that side. And for the Djibouti one, ma'am, Kilna Zikra, sir. So you're always connected with that.
Zishan, can I request you to open the slides for our contact details so that the
That's what I
attendees
was
can.
telling. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That after this webinar, definitely all the participants who has registered with us with their email IDs,
Yeah.
we will share this presentation
Okay.
and the link of our YouTube channel where we'll upload this webinar recording as well. We will upload that one. So definitely each and every participant who have registered with us or is our member, they will receive all the information.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I will say that if any participant would like to reach out to Sonali Bank, they can contact any of the ICRA staff and they will connect you with Sonali Bank at the same time.
Thank you.
I think this is the end, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Masood.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am Kilna. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, the
Thank
team
you.
Farouk, Sonali team, Farjana. Thank you so much, TIOB and Credit Info, our partners, our brothers, everyone. They have a very good support from them. Always, always. Thank you so much, audience. And thank you so much, my team, ICRA team, who is providing a lot of support back end. So thank you, everyone. Thank you
Have a
so
lovely
much.
day.
Sahil has
and
something
have a
to
good
say.
day.
Sahil has
Sahil?
something.
Hi, Kilna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sahil? Good to see you.
I've got nothing too much add on. I think you guys have covered it all, but massive thank you for especially to the Sonali team, who's joined all the way from UK. And I think we will keep these conversations on. We will keep these webinars on for as much information as we can. And I'm looking forward to some great responses. So let us work as a team. And we are, as Zishan mentioned, we are locally based and bring an international flavor to the market. So let's so that's it from me. I think we've got start off with a great mission, and we are here to help. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Have a lovely
everybody.
day ahead.
Bye.